The author of Harry Potter, beloved by children and adults, transformed over 10 years from a struggling single mother to a billionaire. Joanne Rowling's magical stories brought joy to readers and viewers. This is a case where talent brought worth the fruits. How many years do you think a person needs to spend to earn $1 billion? 20, 30, or even their entire life? In most cases, you would be correct, but the author of the famous novel about the young wizard Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, is an exception to this rule. 10 years passed between the publication of her first novel in 1997 and 2007. It was in 2007 when Forbes magazine estimated the writer's wealth at $1 billion. And, of course, besides money, Rowling has gained immense popularity. Joan was born in 1965 in Gloucestershire, England. Later, another child was born into their family, Joan's sister, Diana. From an early age, Joan had a very vivid imagination and was already creating short stories for her younger sister at the age of 5. As a teenager, she experienced family problems as her relationship with her father was strained and her mother was seriously ill. Joan once admitted that the character of Hermione from the Harry Potter books was mostly based on the girl she was at 11 years old. By the way, according to the writer, many characters for her best-selling book were taken from her school years. In 1982, Joan was unable to enter Oxford University, so she received her higher education at Exeter College. After graduation, she decided to move to London. However, the centre of Great Britain did not impress Joan. Soon she decides to leave the bustling city life and move to Manchester. It was 1990, a turning point in Rowling's life. However, she fully realised this many years later. On the train to Manchester, which for some reason did not want to go, the future writer mentally saw a skinny dark-haired boy with unique abilities in front of her. Gradually, ideas and situations started to take shape in her head, which she later brought to life in her first book about the young wizard Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. In the same year, Rowling's mother passed away after a long illness. To somehow cope with her grief, Rowling threw herself into her work. 2 years later, the young woman started a family with Jorge Arrants. Unfortunately, the marriage was not particularly happy and only lasted a little over a year. Despite the complexity of her relationship with her husband, the writer made every effort to keep her family together. Biographers speculate that Rowling often experienced scenes of jealousy, domestic violence, and beatings. Evidence of such rumors is Rowling's admission that her husband once beat her and then simply threw her and their daughter out of the house. As a result, Joan was left without a home, without a job, without a husband, with their young daughter Jessica and a manuscript. Rowling went to Edinburgh to visit her younger sister, where she continued to actively work on her novel. During this period, Joan experiences clinical depression, thinks about suicide, and it is from this state that the Dementors appear, creatures that suck out the soul and happiness. She was, in her own words, as poor as it was humanly possible to be without being homeless. She had a home, as well as social assistance. Most people could have broken down under such circumstances. But for Joan, these events became a reason to look at the world from a different perspective. The book was completed in 1995, but was only released in 1997. The first book about the adventures of Harry Potter was sent to 12 publishers, who rejected the manuscript. small publisher Bloomsbury, became the first to publish the story of the boy who lived. The print run was small, only 1,000 copies, but critics noticed the novel. Now, those first editions are literally worth their weight in gold, as each one is valued at £16,000 to £25,000. Soon after, Rowling received a grant from the Scottish Art Council and began working on the second book about the young wizard. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was released in 1998, and soon after the third part of the story, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, appeared. All 3 books were awarded the Smarties Prize, and Rowling became the first writer to receive the award 3 times in a row. In year 2000, Joan delighted her fans with the 4th installment, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and 3 years later a new masterpiece appeared, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. In 2005, the 6th part, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, was written. During all this time, the writer's personal life was also not standing still. During this period, she got married for the 2nd time and gave birth to 2 children. The final novel in this series was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. It was recognized as the fastest-selling book of all time. It managed to sell around 11 million copies in just the first day in the United States and the United Kingdom. All 7 stories of the Boy Wizard were adapted into films and recognized as the highest-grossing film series. Joan Rowling continues to write, but now for an adult readership. Additionally, she is actively involved in charitable work, donating significant sums to various funds. Having experienced issues such as poverty, social inequality, and serious illnesses herself, Rowling's mother passed away from multiple sclerosis. She understands how people feel in such situations